Okay, we're live again. Let's see who shows up and what for a topic. Last week we covered gun sales and what's going on, especially, I don't know if we did quite on surplus. Talked about civilian market, but surplus, it's like I'm not even keeping up with the prices. Fortunately, someone come in when I asked about SKSs, and I didn't realize that the going price on such things were so high. Took me aback because I'm not actively looking to buy or sell or anything like that. That's why I'm a little bit behind on this. But as for a topic today, if anyone shows, um, oh, there's Rodney. I don't know. We can talk about gun control because I still don't know how the reloading situation, because I haven't been involved. I had other issues to deal with. I know a lot of people come here to talk about. I'm hanging in there, Rod. You know, I've been busy with a lot of things. You know, other than firearms, when you're retired, I have to watch whatever assets I have, which aren't much, and the way things are, both politically and you know financially. Uh, Times here are terrible, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and going into financial ruin is no picnic. All right, Alan. Good morning. So we got some guys here, but other than that, I've just been trying to. Oh, you're retired too. How's your father doing up there? Uh, I know he was in the hospital a bit. Um, but things like that. You just get caught up in everyday stuff. Plus the fact that a lot of this you get tired of working, tired of dealing with the nonsense, tired of listening to the shit. Uh, Getting a kidney removed, oof, that's a bad cancer. Well, I hope it works out for him. That's tricky surgery. I know some people that had issues one way or the other with their kidneys. That's a pretty serious matter. Yeah. All right, so that's good. They got it. They got it somewhat early. Um, so usually when that happens, it's a pretty good thing because a lot of people with the way health insurance is. I know a lot of people they just can't afford to go to the doctor. They can't afford health insurance, and then finally, when it gets to the point where they can't take it anymore and they go to a doctor, it's less than a month and they're gone. That's another thing about the healthcare system in this country. Uh, Something that sucks. All right, we got Walker Customs. Yeah, all right, we're getting some folks in there. But like that, I haven't gotten much content out. Been screwing around with them shotguns, and no good has come from it. Some of them are okay. Some of them are, you know, not okay. It's kind of a 50-50 thing. You know. Load a few 6.5 Swede rounds. Yeah, megabait. I don't know. I had somebody come up to me, and that's another thing. What reloading components, if you can find them, if you can find the powder that you want and everything. Some people go, well, I got a bunch of these cases, could you do? I can't because it's cheaper for you to just go buy the damn stuff online, not to the retail store. You could go online and you find a deal and it comes out, you're not going to get one box because they got to ship it. But if you get, and I tell these guys, if you guys want ammo, you get a bunch of people want a certain caliber or different things, just tell me, order it. And actually, a lot of places, if you go over $200, the shipping's free. So if you get everybody saying, "Give me 2 boxes of this, 3 boxes of that," you hit that $200 mark pretty friggin' quick. But you try to talk to people and work together as a group. See, this is the whole problem with our damn society. Nobody wishes to trust each other and work together as a friggin' group to come out ahead. Okay. They don't like that. Every man for himself, and that's why our whole global society is falling the fuck apart. With Ginex primers, maybe buy. Ginex is okay. Serbian ones, I wouldn't worry about it. The ones I had trouble. The only time you're gonna have trouble is with a friggin' striker fired pistol. Okay, and I forget those ones out of Argentina. If you loaded them in any old military small pistol primer, if you loaded any of them in old military pistol, any of the Makarovs, Polish pistols, whatever, or a revolver, which usually with a hammer strikes them pretty hard, you don't have no trouble with them. It's when you get into the damn striker fired guns, okay, that you run into problems. I've loaded CCI primers, which are kind of middle of the road. They're not that sensitive. They're fairly got a hard uh, cup. The metal in the cup ain't exactly soft. I've used them for years. They're my favorite primers, CCI. And you get these striker fired guns, they don't set them off. And then when you're using range brass, if there's any little deformity in something that's been reloaded a few times, be it the rim's a little bent or something ain't quite right, or when you size it, it springs back a little too much, you're running into trouble. Okay, but even then, a lot of these guns do not fire factory ammo very well either. Okay, and that's just the shortcomings of a striker fired pistol. And another problem is if you look, everybody on YouTube that does something with a friggin' pistol review, the first thing these jackasses do is the trigger and a reset. It's a big thing. Everyone watches this. While the companies that make these guns watch the videos that we make about their guns. Okay. And I think the problem with Taurus is they try to get the damn triggers to work a certain way to where you end up with the light strikes and some of these other guns. Now, I had that one pistol, this Turkish made clone of the uh, Glock, Stoger pistol. That gun I got with a $50 rebate and all this other stuff. It was inexpensive, and that damn thing will shoot anything I put in. I don't buy steel cased ammo anymore because I ain't paying the same amount of money for steel cased ammo from Russia that you could buy Blazer brass or something with a reloadable brass cartridge. Okay, so that's why you don't see that steel cased ammo anymore. Which is a shame because it was a good test platform. If you could get a gun to run that crap, okay, it was a fairly good benchmark when you were testing these guns out. But yeah, it's I don't know, and I haven't kept up with it. I bought some shotgun shells to test the shotguns, and I got them for about 80 rounds a piece for double aught buckshot or something, which ain't too terrible. But again, the quality is you can tell by the hulls and the plastic. Some of them, when you fire them, the crimp gets all weird on the end of it and it'll get stuck in the port of the gun. It's not the gun's fault. It's that the ammo is extremely low quality. The plastic used in the hulls and such. I think somebody was using some biodegradable shells There's a company that made the whole shell is biodegradable. Okay, how they do that, I don't know. But when he would fire them, they'd take the rims and the base off and leave the hull in the chamber. And that's not the gun's fault. That's the okay. Yeah, I bought my son a STR. It's a STR9C. I got. Now the strange thing is, like I said when I was doing these videos, when those STR full sizes first came out, there was a guy did a video that he could not get a magazine out of that gun without some sort of malfunction. Okay. Uh, you know, and looking at that video, you'd wonder. And it was a person that doesn't like me. He just bought the gun, got a camera rolling, and fired the gun. Okay, because a lot of these places that supposedly test the weapons, these things are sent to them. And even when I had some guns that are questionable, even when they had during the testing some sort of slight issues that I kind of said are kind of glaring and I don't reshoot to get over them, uh, you never hear a very negative comment because that's what they're getting paid to do is promote this item and sell it. So a lot of the guys, and it's always the big channels that get, you know, yeah, 100,000 subscribers and it's always, oh yeah, boom, 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 this. You don't know, okay? Like I'm finding out with them Turkish guns. Some of them guns, clean oil out of them so they don't get gummed up and you use them. And if you're using them without getting crazy, firing the hottest, most powerful loads you can get in a 3-inch Magnum, because, like, we discussed, the receivers are an aluminum alloy. And even though you're locking up on the metal pieces, the whole stress of that will eventually, the gun will eventually fail. Okay. Um, if you need the type of gun it fires that needs to fire very, very high pressure ammo in it, you best invest in something a lot better, and it's going to be quite expensive, kind of a specialized gun. Where any Mossberg 500 or a Remington, even a Remington 870, I have no idea what the hell they're like now after they closed the company down. But there's a lot of 870s out there that are garbage. I mean, when the company was failing, and that because a lot of the parts are subcontracted out, which in the old days that did not go on because all through upstate New York, you get one company makes one piece that goes in there or one section and they subcontract it out and let these little small shops bid down, the price because if you got a spare machine, it ain't doing nothing, and you got some people, you can run these little tiny parts, but quality control goes out the friggin' window. Okay, I mean, things were a lot better. People at that factory and that company took pride in what the hell they made for many years. Okay, and that's why the older Remington products were first class. And if you had, I've heard of these old timers, some of them are dead now, but back in the 60s or 70s, there was something wrong with the gun, or you said you didn't like it, you wrote them a letter and just, the way it used to be. If I was sending a shotgun back to Remington, you didn't need an FFL or nothing. You just put it in a damn box with a letter, mailed it to them, and they sent it back to your house. Okay, you didn't have this background checks or, because that was the way the law was written. Or repairs. Okay. Um, And I've heard of people saying they didn't like something about the gun where it was patterning or shooting. They sent it back to the factory. They went and straightened the barrel and sent them a letter. Said, well, usually we catch this, the barrel wasn't quite straight. We fix that for you and sent it back. And the guy said it shot fine. Um, you know, it's a different time, different era. Now this stuff's stamped out. You buy it, you got the cat in the bag, man. That's your problem. And quality control or anybody taking pride. Well, again, like most of these guns I'm testing, several different names. It's basically the same weapon with some physical changes to it, or it's a basic mechanical system that has a different outside shell or stock or something. They could all come from the same place. Who knows? And all of them like back the turn of the century. As Rod's vintage side by side said, it's just like the old double barrel guns that were either Damascus or I think a regular was called nitro steel or something. They differentiate between them. But the quality of a lot of these cheaply imported guns in the 1900s and 1890s was so bad that they wouldn't put a company name on them. Okay, so you had all these different shotguns, and everyone, oh, I got this old shotgun that says pattern 18. Yeah, but it says, you know, Monkeyville Gunworks or whatever, you know. So yeah, there's Sears and Roebuck's guns, they're department store guns. Yeah. Yep. All right, Peter. How's things in Phoenix? Talking about gun control, I don't think it was Arizona. I think it was Arizona or New Mexico. The governor's trying to pass some really bizarre, twisted stuff. Okay, yeah, trade brand shotguns. I forget what the name of them was. Um, but you do run across them. That was another thing. It was always a big thing back years ago with some old shotguns. Some of them might have a 2.5 inch chamber. Okay, or the Damascus steel was the thing that they burst or whatever. But the thing is, also they said that that was a problem even with the old black powder cartridges and that or shells. That these barrels of piss poor quality, if you really got some bad quality stuff, they would burst too. And I think I had one gun. Uh, I've cleaned a lot of guns for people, like the family heirloom they had in a closet, and I would just go and clean the dust out of the barrel and put oil on it so it didn't rust or nothing. But I've worked with a lot of them older Damascus guns, uh, Rod, that you talk about. And really, some of them quality ain't that horrible or bad. But there was one guy that come up to me with a single barrel shotgun. Said was on the farm, been on the farm for 100 years or something. And I looked at it, and this gun was really, out of all the ones I handled, this one was bad. You can see where it was a band of iron, and somebody hammer forged that around a mandrel. I mean, you can see the actual in the barrel, the gaps in between. It was a real crappy Damascus barrel. I've never seen one that bad. Okay. Uh, and I cleaned it out for the guy. Actually, I run a home down there, and I mean, then my God, I told him, I said, look, don't ever fire this whatsoever. This thing is really low. I said, I've never seen one. I forget where the maker was, or if there's even something on there, but just a little single barrel shotgun. Uh, must have been the cheapest friggin' gun you could find at one point in time. Yeah, because I forget one of the going back, Peter. One of the at Washington gun lawyer. He covers not just Washington State but everywhere. He keeps abreast of these things coming up. And I forget which state it was, or no, it wasn't them. It was gun lawyers, the blonde-haired woman and the guy. I think them. I kind of keep up with both of them because a lot of people like to know about some of the gun control laws that came out. Forehand and Wadsworth. Now that might. Well, I didn't have it. Somebody brought that to me. significant is shenanigans. It's local. Okay, so Arizona ain't that bad. So it had to be one or the other. Yeah, but see, like they supposedly came out by now. And see, like I said, I've had other issues to deal with and trying to keep track of all this stuff. But there was a thing I asked any of you fellas out there, have you heard anything about where you're supposed to, where the ATF set up a thing where you have to have a background check for private sales, or if you get caught selling guns privately, they're going to look in to see you're going to have to either have a license or they're going to accuse you of being an underground dealer, much like the controversy with that guy that ended up getting shot. Okay, but when you look into it, okay, what he was doing is he was like going down and purchasing 5 or 6 Glock 17s in a month, brand new. And I guess he was selling them to people without going through a background check or something. It's one thing you buy a gun, you don't like the damn thing after you shoot it a month or so, and then you go and sell it is one thing. But if you're going out and buying 7 or 8 of one type or 5 AR-15s in 2 weeks, okay, you're asking for trouble because they know, okay, what you're doing. Okay, nobody kind of does that normally. You know, I might go out and buy a few handguns every other week or like these shotguns, but I'm not buying 10 of them at a time. Um, and then all of a sudden, that's why the ATF, what they do is they show up at your house because they go back and they audit the dealer and they go to the dealer and see that, you filled out these forms or you're buying 4 of these handguns at one time, the same model, the same type, you know, and they will find it and they will come and look, you know. Now, how it escalated with this individual to where there was some kind of gun battle or something, it's all very strange. But a lot of the guys, I went to the flea market, and a lot of them fellas that have the, old shotguns, 22s or whatever the hell, selling. All right, Swiss Vetterli. Uh, the reason I stopped doing the conversions, I did a lot of them, and I did them for years, is I would explain to people, I need the complete bolt and the firing pin intact. Okay, and I do the conversion. That's conversion. I use the actual firing pin. All right. People would send me the bolt without the firing pin. And now, because every jackass in the world tries doing a conversion, all the spare firing pins and parts and pieces are gone. Or to get a spare firing pin, people want $80 to $90. Okay. And then when you tell the person you have to find this, oh, don't you have one? No, I do not, because the ones that I had that were spares over the years I used to repair and fix other things. So not only do we get past the conversion, which ain't that terrible most of the time, the reason I stopped doing the conversions is the last 10 that were sent to me, it's like 6 or 7 of them I had to send back. Okay. And people buy these guns that they're beat to shit, tore up, been screwed with. One guy had a broken firing pin, and what they did is they super glued it into the bolt and then peened it over and held the fragments of the broken fork firing pin into the bolt. Okay, if he ever took a rim fired cartridge and tried to fire that gun, the firing pin was peened and glued into place, and as if he cranked the bolt down on a live rimfire cartridge, because you do run across them, that gun would have went off with an open battery. Okay, I've seen a lot of stuff, so it just got to the point where I quit. Now, on the other hand, you go to the ammo. Years ago, I used to be able to make the ammo, put it in a damn box, form it out of the Lebel brass with a heel bullet, beautiful cartridge, smokeless powder. Okay, that's another thing. People go and use, first of all, they don't use black powder. Nobody does. They use Pyrex or some kind of black powder substitute, which they unfortunately find out is way more corrosive than normal black powder. And a lot of people have destroyed the guns and screwed the bores up doing this. But the problem is, I used to be able to sell 20 cartridges. If you got a conversion done, I used to sell them for about $65, $70, and it came in a hard box. Hard. The brass was formed once. You fire the cartridge. If you sent the damn brass back to me, I could reload it for a lot less because the cartridge, the brass case, is what is time consuming and what you have to, it's the most expensive part. At the time, 8 millimeter Lebel brass was, I think, about, say, 70 cents a case. Now it's like $1.25, $1.30. Primers, used to be 5 cents. Now they're 15, 20, depending on where you get them. Okay. And then the powder, if you can get the powder, okay, which is another issue, it's almost impossible. But for me to make those cartridges again, people didn't like paying me $60. Okay, when I start telling you it's $125, $130 plus the shipping to get it, then people kind of get upset. So my question, pay me $3 a month. I got about 20 hours worth of work, if you remember, and I show you step by step. I made them films. I put 6 months into making that whole series, going through every step in detail on how to make a cartridge for that gun. And for a stinking $3 a month, you can have access to all my work, okay, on Swiss Betterly. Show you where to get the bullet molds, the whole 9 yards, and you can do it. All right. That was one of my achievements that I did. But everybody thinks they're going to buy it for surplus ammo prices and all that other stuff. But that ain't the way it goes. The only thing I know is she's like, yeah, I don't know what they would be. They would have to be with the center, or they're cutting back or whatever. But yeah, like, see, I supposedly, there's a city. My address comes under a city where I live. But the way this is weird, I actually live outside the city, and I live actually in another county. Okay. And when you used to fill out the automated forms, when I put my address there, when it came to county, you'd have a drop down box, give you two choices. Okay. Because some of the people that live within the city limits live in another county. It's weird. It's a very small segment. Because I guess what happens is when a city starts out, it'll expand these little townships or villages just for tax purposes or whatever the hell. And that's how they did it. That's why my property and my development is kind of nice, because I live but the only bad thing is I live on a very edge of the county, and the sheriff is 15, 20 minutes away for response time to my home. but the taxes are like a third. If I live 200 yards, if the house is 200 yards the other way in any other county, the taxes would be much higher. So that's a weird thing. So what was I going to say? Okay. Township, whatever. Yeah, so has anybody heard anything about that, about the private sales, or as I'm enforcing it? I've lost track of that. I don't know if it's September 15th or something is supposed to come into effect. I do know some states are stepping up on what they're banning in terms of firearms and a lot of the regulations and new laws. Um, like I said, yeah. Let's see, excuse me. But yes, like we said in the last conversation, actually some common calibers, it's better to buy them than to reload them. Well, Phoenix. I'm curious how they. Oh, well, I haven't been. There was a couple gun shows. There was one last weekend. I didn't go up to. There's one next weekend, but that's more of a military show. You'll get more edge weapons, uniforms, flags, and people selling medals and badges. A lot of those guys. Not so much a gun show. And somebody told me that years ago this show was kind of backed, or a lot of the reenactors um, would come there. And that's where, they probably sold uniforms or whatever. The different reenactment organizations would have a table and that there. And they said something about once there was some sort of rift, and once the reenactors stopped coming, it kind of killed that show. But it is one of the last places. There's this one gentleman from Kentucky. He used to come to the Greensboro show, and he had all of these gun parts for all these old antique Civil War uh, firearms and that. There was two or three of them, and that's basically what he does up there in Virginia. He's pretty close to one of the parks where they have the reenactments, and he has a gun shop up there. But I think basically everything is kind of in the antique uh, category. Maybe they got some sharp style cartridge rifles or something, but all old west or antique guns. And you don't see a lot of those dealers anymore, uh, because when they would show up, they'd have the assortment of guns, and now nobody really buys them. There's very little interest in it at the gun show. Most of the gun shows are people coming in to grab a holster, to grab ammo, to 50 round drums, magazines, or as you see, all handguns. Is basically for concealed carry defense. You just see tables and tables and tables of handguns. Life here is as usual in Kentucky. Yeah, that's basically what I do. I don't reload anything unless I can't find it. Now, going back to the auctions. Um, See, the thing with me in my state, if you have a concealed carry permit, okay, that's automatic background check. You got a valid permit. And they did that for years. And that's one of the reasons why I got my concealed carry permit. Not so much to carry a gun, is to go over this background check. Because what they do is they write down on the form, on the actual form, it says background check, and it's there. That number, the serial number on the card, and all that other stuff is recorded as my background check whenever I purchase a firearm. Okay, I don't have to get phoned in. All right. Uh, I don't know. And then see if you're going to an auction. I don't know what state you live in, and I don't know how the rules are. Um, in a private sale, it's kind of ridiculous. The only thing they require for us, and see, it varies from state to state. There's a lot of states, if you're selling a shotgun or a rifle, you just sell it to a person, and really, they weren't sticky about it. Now they are. Okay, up in New York, my nephew was telling me somebody was selling a 22 rifle at a garage sale, and somebody turned them into the local authorities that they would sell this gun without a background check. And they were actually trying to find these people or find out what happened to this beat up old 22 rifle. Okay. Um, it depends a lot, again, on the state or sometimes even uh, local areas, like a certain county or city limits have different rules that apply to anything inside the city limits. Forget where it was. Albany back in the 90s, Albany, New York, banned the possession of any AR-15 style AK-47 clip finger. It was banned to own it in the city limits. Now, are they going to go to everybody's house and search to see if they have them? And then New York, as years went on, uh, you would have to go if you had such a weapon. There was a requirement that you went to the police station and had that registered to you, okay, or something of that recourse. And I don't know if people did or not, or what, big political controversy about that stuff. No, I didn't miss much talking about gun laws and that. Um, and all that other fun crap. So yeah, and the gun shows, like I said, the gun shows here, there are some decent dealers, okay, that do show up. There was one, uh, he was kind of famous. He was down in the southern part of the state, but he would travel to every major gun show in North Carolina. And if you wish to order a firearm from him, you go to his website and see this guy. He got him in. He get 15, 20 of one type of gun. And you go, okay, here's what I'm getting. Here's what I'm selling for. And you call up on the phone with a credit card and tell them, hey, all right, I want to buy this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, where do you live? And they tell you, this is the closest gun show we're going to have. When you go there, buy your entrance to the gun show, come to our table. It'll be waiting there. You fill the forms out, bring your receipt, show you paid for it, and you just do the forms, a background check, and off you went. And this company sold a ton of firearms. I think maybe they still do, but it's a little bit smaller. But that's why this guy done business, and that's how he sold firearms throughout the whole state. Okay, nothing illegal. Okay, all the forms were filled out, everything was done, but he moved a lot of guns. He had a bunch of people working for him. So he used to have like 10, 15 tables with like 5 employees there. Okay, so this was not a small time operation. But yeah, I don't know about that. See, that's another thing. You don't really know when you call what the hell is going on. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, so again, we have another election year. And when my wife was scanning through the news, she found an article that one of the major news outlets wrote that and was talking about the April firearm sales in the U.S. And what they do is they measure in a weird way. They measure the amount of firearms transactions by the number of the background checks that get called in. whether they're, and this is where it's not whether they're turned down or nothing, but they measure a sales or get an idea of the volume of sales by the number of background checks for that month. And when April come up, they said compared to the last election year in that month, April, there was a significant drop in the numbers. Now, this is also how they would measure firearm sales, okay, which is not 100% accurate because not every background check probably is approved, and maybe there's not a sale involved in a background check. You know, um, so for years, for the past 10 years, every month set a record going by that. Every month set a record. And it was going constantly. Okay, now we have another election year. So usually this is when everybody starts going crazy, starts buying guns, starts buying the guns they think they're going to be banned or whatever, or magazines, or whatever. I remember the magazine craze. We used to buy cases of 30 round AR-15 mags. Okay, and people would buy, and I think it was close to, because our magazines are usually a $12, $15 item. And if you bought a case of 100 of them, okay, at one time they were like $7.50 a piece, and people were stockpiling them. Okay, and I remember people used to tell me it's kind of like, well, I got so many ounces of silver or so many ounces of gold. People would tell me, well, I have so many magazines. I had 64 AR-15 magazines, and they like trade them like well, it is a commodity. But I guess they're all figuring that they would be banned and you could no longer buy them. So your $7 thing would shoot up to $30, $40 or something like that. I don't know. And I even talked to a dealer who he bought a bunch of drums, the 50 round drums for pistols, whatever, ARs, or the dual stack hunter round. He bought a bunch of those, figuring they were going to be banned and they were going to, shoot up in price and he was going to make a killing. Didn't happen. I don't know how much he bought. Being a dealer, he might have got them wholesale and bought a carton or a case of them or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, so they're amazed at this, and it doesn't really come as a shock to me because, like I said, at the beginning of this video, a lot of the things I'm doing and dealing with have to deal with my investments, my finances, and what the hell is going on. And right now, I can tell you, people just don't have a lot of extra cash. If you're still going about your business, still working, and you can still go and buy a gun or something or whatever you like to do on the side with your disposable income, great. But there's an awful lot of people that the amount of disposable income that they have is zero. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of the people interested in the things on this channel, the old antique guns or the mill surplus guns and that, generally the people who watch this do have some sort of disposable income. I know some of the younger guys that contact me kind of don't, and they ask me for advice about buying things. But in general, when people start telling me, I want to buy this, that, they got some disposable income. But unfortunately, the way things are with inflation and everything else, an awful lot of people are feeling, the bite. Even myself, I have to watch what the hell I do, cut back on, frivolous things, going out to eat dinner one too many times or hanging out at the club and that, instead of doing it 3 times a week, I only do it 2 times a week or something, so We're cheaper than dirt was selling Magpul. Yeah, 69. That's what I mean, Alan. Yeah, it's like for me, I'd rather have some metals to add to what I have other than add to the gun collection. Another thing disposing of the gun collection, I mean, the prices have gone up ungodly on those surplus. Okay. And say just the past 15 years. Let's go back 15 years. Okay. What I was paying for things then and what they're paying for things now is, but see, here's the thing. You always find out, and when you go to sell your stuff, ain't nobody beating the door down and hands you a ton of cash. Okay. All right. That's the problem. Or if, because I've seen a lot of people that collected guns for years. Okay, and unfortunately, they get a diagnosis of a very serious medical condition. Okay, and it's unfortunate, but now this guy has all this. One of his assets is, you know, his gun collection. Uh, they had one person. They had an auction. One time, I remember this individual was close by. They had it at a public place. They auctioned off his gun collection. That was quick. But on the other hand, okay, you might not get the full value out of it, okay, depending on who's running the auction, how widespread it is, and my only experience with auctions, and I made a video about it, is I went with on the gun broker, lock, stock, and barrel, and they were pretty cool about it. When they make a road trip, I call them up. Of course, now another thing, whenever you call these people up, it's the value of your piece or how many you have. Okay, I tried doing something with another auction house. I had 5 items. Some of them were, fairly decent, so it kind of was worth them driving down. They were coming up towards the coast and then to come down to me in the state and pick up these items. And then bang, the illness, and so the trip's canceled. Well, in the meantime, I still need money, and a lot of these guns are antiques. So before, and see, this is another problem. Before all the shipping services, the post office, UPS, and all these other assholes did this shit where they won't ship any type of firearms, ammunition, or anything unless you are registered as a dealer. It used to be UPS, if you put the little stickers on the box that it's ammo, and I wanted to send ammo, you send it to UPS, there's no problem. Now they won't do that unless you're a registered dealer. I don't know if FedEx will take it from you or not, or how any of this crap works. I think one of my guns I sent back to be worked on uh, was FedEx handgun. It was one of the Tauruses or something. And I just went and got the box and packaged it, and they sent me a label, and I just put the label on there, and I thought it was going to be no questions asked. Girl scanned it, said, "Great, here, thank you," boom, gone. Um, UPS, I did a lot of business with them. They're assholes, and so now you got that problem. But anyway, in the meantime, I sold a couple pieces, and then when they called me back after a year and a half or something, I only had 2 of the 5 items left. And they're like, well, we ain't gonna go. Can you meet us? Can you drive towards Raleigh 2 hours away or something? And maybe we'll take them. And that's that. But lock, stock, and barrels, I suggest you have, call them, talk to them. I had like 5 items and drove right up to the house, did the paperwork, the contract, explained to me everything. And they, you know, took down descriptions, did this, had the contract done, packaged everything up very nicely, and away they went. Okay. The only problem with that now, another thing too, I did send them a few things that I knew I was going to lose money on. I sent them some dog shit stuff that the money I had in it, if I got half of it back, I'd be happy. Okay. So I can say I sent out so much, I broke even. So I'm not going to say I had a bad experience. Okay. It just, that's the thing. If you're looking at getting the maximum amount of money out of some things, and a lot of these auction houses, the real large ones, I kind of don't trust them. People, if you look at the gun collecting forums, a lot of people that went to some of the really big ones uh, had run into problems. The guy was selling a collection of Mosin Nagants, okay, which basically at the time should have went for some fairly good money. And however the hell they did this, it didn't quite work out that way for them. Okay. And, a lot of things. So liquidating your collection also is something you have to, liquidating any of your assets is something you have to watch out for. And I don't really believe in this coming year is a good time. It might be a good time to buy, okay? Because if the economy crashes and you're still a little liquid, and there's people out there that are in a bad way and need to move it, you might be able to get away with getting some deals. Okay, it's a sad thing to say. I really don't like holding people over a barrel, especially if they got some sort of a financial crisis. But business is business. All right. So selling at this point in time, I don't know. But it might be go check out some auctions, so you might get lucky. All right. And I found going to little tiny small auctions where, there are no gun dealers or nothing, you get finds. Some of the best finds I've gotten were just by chance. I actually went to the auction to look at something else and ended up finding something there where I got a deal on. Okay. I don't believe that'll happen. The economy will probably chug along pretty much the same, I think. Well, that's a tough call because the problem is the groundwork is set for this. Okay, there's no avoiding it. Okay, and a lot of people are calling it to where in the past where I've seen it where there was bubbles and collapses and that. Um, I'm gonna tell you, Peter, we'll just get through this upcoming week and we'll see what happens. Um, really, slamming down on the stock market and investments and all that other stuff, you can't tell. Okay. It's just, I'm not that optimistic because I've been through this like twice already in 2000 and then in 2008. Okay. And at my age, I don't have, uh, you know, an income coming in or the chance to go out and work and make more money. Okay. I always had that thing. So, and somebody in my position, I can't be that optimistic. If I was 20 years younger and I was working a lot of hours and had some prospects in some company actually in my trade with my knowledge, if I was physically able to, I would still be working and drawing some good money. Okay. But unfortunately that's not the case for me. All right. And it's unusual. Now I know a lot of other people that, there's nothing wrong with them, that they just lost their jobs. And another thing, there is age discrimination. Once you go over 50 years of age, it's awful hard for people, once you're out of something, to get hired back again. Um, 'Cause I know several folks out there that are trying to get back into different fields and jobs they had. One woman I knew, she was a recruiter. She worked in one of them offices. Um, Very organized, very good at it. For whatever reason, they got rid of her, and she's been interviewing and trying to get back with a company to do that. And I mean, she was 7, 8 months had. And see, another thing, this the way people get hired, okay, is different. Very rarely do they call or they have telephone interviews. And she said one company called her and they gave her 2 or 3 different, they called her back 3 times and gave her telephone interviews and nothing. Then I heard of people in my boat, that, hey, I need a part time job. You got some kind of job where I can come in there 4 or 5 hours a day, 3, 4 days a week, whatever, fill in or something. And there's one woman, she went to the interview at one of these retail stores and showed up at her appointed time. And the guy interviewing goes, "Oh my God, you're the first person that showed up. Like 3 others didn't even show for the interview." So he interviewed the woman. It's like you either working the cash register or stocking something in a large store, some kind of job like that. And the woman goes, "Okay, well, I'm here, I'm available, tell me what you got." And he interviewed her, and oh yeah, it's never called her back. So I don't know. In the economy, I don't trust none of them. There's too many strange things going on in this country right now, and we'll get through this week and see where we stand. Put it to you that way, because you never know. All right? And the economy does take a nosedive. That's a good way to kind of force some political change. But like I said, I haven't been to some gun shows. Maybe I'll start getting out there. I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people that go to the gun shows that when they see me, they recognize me, and I talk with them and visit with some guys that are basically dealers and stuff, and they like hearing the reports. And but it's the same thing. Like I said, there's not a lot of for like the mill surplus guys and that. There's really not a lot of choices. That's the thing I find out. There's one dealer. It's always there. It's a friend of mine, and he does have some guns, but he told me it's getting difficult for him to find pieces. Okay. And actually, he's branched out to where now 2/3 of what he has are new firearms. Okay. What used to be a very small section, you have some popular handguns and some ARs and AKs or some stuff that, but he used to have, 50, 60 mil SERP handguns, rifles. It was always fun to go and check out his stuff. But now you're lucky if he's got a dozen pieces there, and his prices are pretty they're stiff. But then again, I'm looking at what he's got. He don't have junk. Okay, I think the one gun I was looking at is the semi-automatic French rifles. There, I forget what that Moss whatever. Not the early one, but the later one everyone wants. And I remember when they were running about 700, 750 a piece, going back 8 years ago. And I was tempted to get them because they were the ones that come in the 80s. They were like brand new. Okay. They're a nice gun. Didn't get it, didn't get it. He had one, it was 12 or 1400. And I mean, it was mint. Got him ones from Royal Tiger. They refinished them or did something and put brand new stocks on them or some crap, and they sell them. But if you look at, who my little buddy there at Readiness Review, who I invited to get into a chat with me and take questions, hasn't gotten back, but to me on that. But he had one, and I mean, he gave an honest opinion. The damn thing, the firing pin froze in the gun and went full auto on him. Okay, and the guys, he's not pulling no punches. He's not, he bought the gun. He was honest. He shows you what it is. Takes it apart, shows you the condition that it's in. Okay, and they still want a lot of money for them rifles. Okay, and he ran into so many problems. Okay, and he does explain it. I mean, if you don't already, check him out. And I guess he just did a video where he went and bought some bargain basement discount Royal Tiger Enfield rifles, I don't know, C or F grade or some stuff. But and he does M94s or some of the other older guns. Or I'm sorry, M95s. He bought some of them in a B or C grade or something. And actually, he's braver than me. He went and fired them. Didn't do too well, but did get some rounds out of them. But, you know, uh, who knows? I guess we'll have to see what the future brings. But the only thing I did see is Royal Tiger had a crate full of Swiss rifles. So Swiss rifles are coming in still, a whole assortment of the different models. And the price on them, they're very popular. They sell very well. Reminds me, I have my collection. I should drag them out, fire some of them. Did do a thing where I was making the ammo for them, especially the early ones, the 1889s or whatever, and that. But can't remember. They're fun guns to shoot, you know. But they're still coming in. I guess Royal Tiger even had sale on ones, $139, $140 for a bunch of Italian cavalry carbines. I guess these were the ones that were released by the Italians, and he got basically the bottom of the barrel type deal. They're either missing the bayonets, the little folding bayonets, or they're missing a few things, cracked stocks, or the upper handguards missing, and he had a bunch of them. But the sale's been going on for a few days, so I don't think there's a lot of people beating the door down to get them. So I don't know. That's another one. And the Carcano still, but then again, it's going to cost you about $2 a round. Which reminds me, I got some ammo left. I got to do an inventory on that probably next month. The end of this month, there's a lot going on. I got to get through it. Went to one doctor's appointment, and my health is better, so that's good. I've gotten some good news in that area the first time in a while. So that's kind of a relief. And that, even though I've been taking it easy with this recent illness and that, haven't gotten much done, but I've got to get back into basically just cleaning up things. Basically, how I look at it, I go out in the garage and find something. I still haven't finished the M1 carbine project I started. Reload some of that ammo. Forgot what else. with this heat wave, going out and shooting them black powder revolvers with the heat and humidity, it would have killed me. Okay, I wanted to do that this summer. Just go out and enjoy some of those guns. Didn't get around to it. Third raining day in now, but we need it. So yeah, the weather's been kind of freaky. Even now, it's like we got humidity. It ain't really hot, but it's humid as hell. I like have to if I go out in the garage and piddle around out there for an hour, I got to come in and change my shirt again. You know, just get soaked in sweat. So you go through this 3 times a day. It's kind of rough. I'm getting old too, but what are you gonna do? And like I said, the way things are going, like he's saying, disposable income, the metals. The only reason I got back into that again is when I noticed what was going on with the metals, and it's bizarre because I guess gold went over to a record high of $2,500 an ounce. I remember when it went to 1,800 years ago. I was back around 2010, and really didn't want to be involved. And a lot of people said that that's insane, ridiculous, whatever. And it dropped down $1,200 again, blah 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 blah, and back and forth. And silver, you know, started off. When I started fooling around with it again, I was buying it when it was about $21 an ounce. It went up to 32. Now it's bouncing from 27 to 32 like every week. In all the years I've seen it, I've never seen it this volatile. And who knows? A lot of people, it's going to go up $40, $50. Man, I doubt that. But if there is some sort of a crash in that, you know, I think the metals are going to get beaten too. So who knows? A lot of people like to, that. The upper part of Michigan, Kingsford, Twin Cities, 74 degrees right now. All right. It's raining. Yep, up in Michigan, there was some fall weather when up where my brother was. They had tornadoes in upstate New York, which that rarely, if ever, happens. All the years I lived up there, I've never seen one. Never seen one. They had one come right down through the city of Rome, tore up buildings and everything, which is unheard of. I've never seen that in all the years I lived there. But that's it. So yeah, there still are. If you guys are interested, there still are some bargains out there. If you haven't gotten a Swiss rifle, you might want to do that. If you haven't gotten a Carcano, I strongly suggest you see if there's still some. It took about almost 3-4 years for them. They must have brought literally a boatload of them in. Generally, whenever these dealers get a lot of some sort of mill surplus rifles, be it Swiss rifles or anything, they usually sell out quite rapidly. So they must have gotten a ton. Because I forget how many I bought. I was buying them 3-4 at a time. I had to buy about 20 or so of them. All right, Alan, you take it easy. Thanks for stopping by, Alan. It's always good for input from all you guys. Any input's great. Find out what's going on, get an idea. Really don't have a lot of gun collectors around me to talk to or hear their input about what's going on. Mostly people that buy commercial guns or self-defense guns or such. you know, and things like that. I very rare. I think there was one guy from my club that collected old mill surplus, and I'd run into him every now and again. I run into him at the gun shows. There's one person there, and a couple people when they see me firing my rifles might come by and say that, oh, actually, it was that one guy. So I got one guy in my club that's really into the older guns, and that's about it. I mean, when you go to the gun shows, you run in, and I used to go for the shut down on one here in Greensboro, the big political thing. We're not having, ne'er do wells selling firearms openly there, and you know, kind of really curbed violence and violent crime, and that. I think the murder rate's gone up since they closed the gun shows. And when they can't afford a gun, we had an incident where somebody got in an argument at a convenience store and actually run a person over and killed them with a car. You know, but I think it was after they came from the gun show they did that. But good day, Eric. So yeah, that works. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I may, but see, going to Raleigh, they're fixing the road, man. It's a death trap and a half. That's a collector's thing, which is a little bit different. You got more than just guns, and you do find a lot more of your older guns, swords. A couple of them fellows that still sell a lot of the actual Civil War firearms you'd find there. That's where I went. I did a report on it when I went last year. I went, and that's where the guy I went in there. He had all these guns laid out, and he had an old Spanish 93 rifle, and I went and looked at it, and it is one of the ones that got scrubbed, and I think it was rebarreled 308, you know. And I was looking at it, had the receiver was ground and serial number. Oh, that was made during the Civil War, and they wouldn't put it, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm looking, and actually, I looked down there, it actually had some decent rifling, so it may have been a decent gun to shoot. So of course I had to make them, and there's no price tags on anything. And I'm like, oh boy. And I see it coming. How much do you want for the gun? It's $650. I said, yeah. Make me an offer. Well, you're not gonna like an offer of $350, right? And I didn't want to get in an argument, so I just said, you know what? I made a mistake when I even come over here. All right, J&G Wholesale. Okay, they got them. Yeah, like I said, you can still get them. But you go to J&G Wholesale's collectors firearms and you want to see some prices. They got them $600 Mosin Nagants in there. And I forget, Type 14 pistols are all over $1,000 or something. I mean, now we're getting to where, well, what the hell type of deal here. What are we doing, folks? So, anything else? Let's see what else we got here. Oh, yes, the collector's corner. Throat's still a little scratchy, but getting better. Hopefully, get some more activity. I get some more videos up. I don't know what the hell I'll dig out. I got to finish up fooling with these shotguns. I've been repairing and fixing one to get it to work. And once I get some more testing out. See what'll happen. But I was thinking of what I had. Shaking Gidunk out of the Gidunk machine. All right. The guy steps on. I didn't shake. I kicked the goddamn machine, and that's how I got arrested. All right. Yeah. Yeah, you would remember that. My only criminal infraction the whole time I got caught in the Navy was doing it over a goddamn candy bar and a vending machine. Assholes. It cost me a good conduct medal, too. But, just, yeah, I ain't thought about that in over 40 years. Okay? And all that other shit. I remember that. They got me, what, 30-day probation in the damn office on a pentagraph under observation. Yeah, I remember that. Only me. That's funny. Yeah, it don't look like. I'm sorry I didn't call you. I've been busy with a bunch of crap. I had doctor's appointments and stuff. I ain't gonna make it. My wife picked up another week's worth of work that one last week, and that's when we were thinking because it would have gave her 2.5 weeks off or something, and that's what we were thinking of making a trip, but we didn't. Then I got sick. Both of us actually got sick. So that last week before she had to go back to work, she was ill, and then now she's back. She went back Thursday. Now she's back on full time working. So we're back to that. Our vacation stuff is, but we did. We're going to drive out for a day, just for the hell of it. Uh, you know, but I ended up just pay for this wonderful place. Nobody screws us while we're here, so it's a vacation in itself just to park my ass on the porch and drink a cold beer and not worry about nothing. So that's one way of looking at it. But no, I know. I'm glad you're hanging in there, and everything's going all right for you. Um, like I said, we'll just wait through this week and see what the hell happens. I'm curious. I'm curious what the hell's going to go down. So yeah, like I said, guys, you never know. You never know when we're going to see. Sell them dirt cheap. Yeah, JG Wholesale. I bought things from them over the years. Their company, AIM Surplus, was another place. DK Firearms. I bought a bunch of the Carcanos from them, and they have some decent deals up there in Virginia. Where you know, uh, there's several online places where you can find good deals on either the mill surplus or just some. Well, a lot of them too. You can't call them mill surplus like the Berettas, Beretta 80 series. A lot of that's law enforcement, but still they're nice guns. I know been a bunch of Glocks showing up. If you're a Glock fan, you can buy a lot of used ones. I know a couple people that have recently got them, and you can get some deals if you want an older model, you know. But I'm not quite sure if after Gen 3 or Gen 4 where they changed and you're going to have a different, I don't know how much of a difference there is. Um, so, you know, and I don't know what gen they have now, 5, 6 or something. Who the hell knows? Yes, Hunter X Wrangler. Uh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said, all right, Shady Grady, you take it easy, buddy. All right, Charles, how's it going? Yep, so I guess we'll see. But there's still stuff trickling in, guys. You know, like I said, Glocks. I bought several police trading Glocks over the years and fired them. Uh, you know, the only good thing is you can change sights on them and stuff. And generally, they work okay. All right, thanks, Charles. 10 comments up. Could I ask you a question? Looking for your take or what? Okay, yeah, go ahead, Charles. That's the whole reason I have the live is to people to uh, hit ask questions. And yeah, you know, you hit the like button if you want, guys. I mean, that kind of does help me in some weird ways with the demographics or analogs. You got 13 likes. That ain't bad compared to got 20 people. Yeah, but that's kind of the reason I have the live thing is for people to ask questions. It used to be a lot livelier. I had to stop because I got shut down once for giving my political comments. We used to have a lot more people. We used to get 70, 80 people here and field questions. Actually, when I used a different format and had my guests, uh, this Rod Shotguns, the Gun Geek used to be a guest, and 314 up there. I had the Canadian fellas uh, on all the time. And we used to try to answer a lot of the questions from people. Um, those fellows specialize in different areas a lot better than I do, especially when it came to Enfields and certain other guns. And 314 also has an awful lot of experience in reloading equipment. I think he kind of collects. He had some interesting things there, the older powders and stuff, and they had a lot of knowledge in your basic hand loading. You know, I had people that were a lot more knowledgeable in a different type of field than what I have a general knowledge in. And of course, the gun geek, his knowledge was vast. And then, of course, dear old Rod Side by Sides is the title of his channel. You know, basically shotgun slash hunting expert there. Uh, how do I feel about refinishing older firearms, rebluing, gunk, everything? Generally, you kind of don't do it. They told me if you had a military rifle, I had an old Craig carbine, and somebody went and reblued it. and it was in fairly decent shape. I'd say excellent condition. So the one guy told me, you grade it this way. You take what the hell the condition is, all right, which is excellent. You take that with the original finish and you deduct 50%, and that's when you refinish it. So refinishing and cleaning takes whatever grade the gun was, which it's good, and at good, the gun is worth $300. To a collector, it's now worth $150. Okay. A lot of people like a gun that is clean, shiny, refinished with a nice, sanding the stock down. If that's what you like, you know, go ahead. Personally, I don't do it. I kind of like them when they're kind of grungy, especially the wood. The wood picks up, that oil picks dirt and stuff up. And to get the dirt off, you got to strip the finish off. So I just leave them the way that they are. Okay. Um, but I've had a lot of guns that come through. I had a Mauser 88 that somebody went and redid the stock, reblued the whole damn gun, and there's a guy. He seen that gun. He wanted that gun like that. Okay, and ended up buying it. But yeah, I don't. Um, but then again, you get some guns that are in so piss poor condition that like a lot of those Czech CZ82s and that. Some of them are so beat up, and scratched up that if I ended up with one and I liked it and it shot, I'd Duracoat it with some flat black or something, you know, or really just disassemble it, strip it down, bead blast it, then Duracoat it, really nice. It's kind of neither here nor there, because chances are, if you did Duracoat that gun, you could sell it and get some money out of it. As to where, if you took a Luger or something and redid it, that would seriously kind of demise the value. It's personal preference, you know. But yes, cleaning, rebluing it does hurt the value. But it depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about a gun worth about $300-400, then it's just a matter of personal choice. I wouldn't quite do it with a very rare Winchester or some really old rare gun. We're talking in the thousands. Original Colt Walker, repaired some screws. Yeah, that was not a gun. Like I explained to you, that would be a gun just to leave right alone. Uh, and, you know, again, it depends who you took it to. Something like that, like I said, if it's a valuable gun, I wouldn't I wouldn't fool with it whatsoever. Okay. Yes. Bring in a sanded and polyed Hakeem. Well, Charles, if if you're happy with doing it and cleaning the rust off and repairing it, okay, that's one thing. But collectors, and then again, who did you take this to and who's telling you this? Okay. Is it one person? Is it a group of people? Did you go to a gun show or collectors association where all these people know each other? Did you take it to more than just one person for an opinion on this? Also, that's another thing. You know, you should kind of go and talk to something like that is more specialized. You know, if you approached me with the gun, I'd know what it was. I have absolutely no idea what the value is one way or the other, whether you repaired it or whether you left it alone. And also something like that, when you get into that field, the best thing to do is figure out what you have, what the approximate value is, and then try to go and, you know, that's something probably to be best sold in a high end auction. All right. When you're talking about things that are rare, going to a gun show or private sale would kind of be difficult. Did you have the gun re-blued? And was there any surface pitting and rust and stuff in there? And really destroyed it. Yeah, that's collectors. I'm familiar with them. The prices are quite high. Uh, I suggest that you find or get more than one opinion. Okay, I'm familiar with this place. Send some photos and contact more than one place. Okay, and see, or go get on a forum online, collectors forum or gun boards forum, find a category, put some pictures on, and just ask for an opinion. Okay, something like the collectors forum where you just have collectors. Okay, and not looking to buy, sell, trade type of deal. Just go, hey, I got this. I'd like your opinion. Go find a forum or go find a black powder forum and just basically ask people what their opinion is. Like I told you, I cannot even come close to telling you what the value, what the price is, or if rebluing it like you did. I have no idea how that affects the value. All I know is I remember years ago, you take whatever the value is, you refinish the gun, cut it in half. Okay. And I don't think 1,000 is half of what the value of the gun is. All right. And I've seen some of the stuff this guy advertises. So I ain't gonna say no. I've never done business with them. I don't know. All I'm telling you is just sound, simple advice. Get more than one place, one opinion. Okay. Take the time. Take the time to do it. Take the time to do the research. You know, you got forums out there that are free. You might as well use them and see what kind of opinion you get from other people that collect guns that are not in the business of buying and selling guns. See what happens. What do you mean I'm frozen? Am I still frozen? You were reading. Oh, yeah, I gotta read the little thing on the side here. Just for my information. Okay, no, now you're not frozen. All right. Yeah, get more than one opinion. Okay, go to forums, go to collectors forums. There's Gunboards forum is a good one. So a gun like that, you might have to go to a specialized forum on people that just deal in the older antique weapons. Okay, then you'll probably find some more people who specialize in that. Okay, cold walkers are extremely expensive and extremely rare. All right, you need more of a specialized person that's up to speed with it. Okay, when I did, if you go look at my video, I did the trivia thing on my Repro Walker. Okay, the Colt Walker, they made, the hell was it? I think they made 1,000 or something of them, or 10,000 or something for the government, or 1,000, and then they made 100 civilian case sets. There's only one civilian case set out of 100 still in existence. It's original. And I think it was that set a record for the largest amount paid for any firearm in an auction. And also something about the Walkers set other auction and value things. Uh, so yeah, that's a very very specialized uh, weapon. And for my advice to you is just try to find out some other opinions and talk to other people that are more knowledgeable about it. Okay. Go to some forums, put pictures of the gun up and say, hey, I got this, I did this. How would it affect the value? And some of these guys will even give you an idea what the hell the thing's worth. You know, you go to one person trying to sell them a gun, and of course they're going to tell you that. They're going to tell you you destroyed the value, this and that. I'll give you $1,000 for it. I gotten $1,000 for old reproduction Colts. Okay, an old Colt Patterson. It was an Italian-made gun. Some of the repros are selling for more than $1,000. So that's not a realistic price. Okay. Yeah, I mean, do some, go about it different. Don't go to one place. Okay, I know that's a big store. I know they specialize in stuff. I have never done no business with them. Okay, but for them to offer you $1,000 for that gun because you reblued it, okay. I told you I've sold repros. They're used for over $1,000. Okay, so you take that as my experience with it. I've not taken originals out in that and tried to sell them. Or if you go, there's a guy, Antique Guns, uh, list all this stuff, and they all are antique guns. A lot of handguns on there, a lot of Colts. Just go through his site and see the condition, see what they sell for. That's kind of a realistic thing. But there is a lot of other things to do and get information before you just kind of jump into it. Yeah, Eric, that's like I was trying to explain that. That's true. It depends. And it depends on the individual or what you're selling. Okay. A lot of the older antique guns, it's better off to leave them alone. Refinishing them, like I said, the one rule of thumb was one guy was a collector years ago told me. You take whatever and you reduce it in half. So if you refinish your gun that's worth in the crappy condition it's in, okay, say $2,000, and then you go and refinish it or something. And then again, a lot of it has to do with rarity or whatever the hell it is, or how the finish come out. When you go back and it's restored, now it's worth half. Okay, so yeah, but you're going to find there's nobody that really does hot bluing or anything. And a lot of those old guns, like the guy said, you boil them in water and card them, they'll come out looking like they're browned. Okay, there is ways of restoring the guns. Uh, yeah, I see. I don't know what he's done to it. Okay, I have no examples. Um, Most people in general do not like it when you clean or restore the firearms. And there's a ton of videos of guys taking, well, you take a Carcano out, clean it off, put it together. And that. Personally, when they come like that, I wouldn't buy them. Okay, I do have a couple examples that has happened to them. Um, but you're talking now mostly a Carcano and a $200-300 gun. Now you're talking if it's complete all together, and even though it's shiny, I might pay the guy $20-30 less for it than if it was an original. Or if he wanted $200, I'll pay him the same because it really doesn't matter. Okay, but when you're talking about something which is extremely valuable, you're talking. I don't know what the hell a Colt Walker in good condition, original value. Like I said, if I could sell some of these old repros for $1,000, the gun, roughly speaking, see, it's worth rusted. See, a Walker's a rare gun. Okay, we're not talking about, I've seen some beat up old Colts go for 1,000, 1,500, whatever, depending on the model, or how bad the condition is. Okay, the Walker, I'm not going to say because I have absolutely no idea what the hell one of them's worth, you know, in any condition. But they are a rare gun. Well, guys, let me get a drink of water and clear my throat here. All right, I'm going on. We had a good turnout today. It's getting better. Having people fielding questions and that again. So that's basically the whole purpose of the live chats is to kind of have a question and answer period. Uh, so gonna be back again. All right, Generation Kill. Gonna be back again next week, same time, and we're starting to get more discussions, starting to get more activity. I'm glad. That's kind of why we do it. So I'll see you guys next week.